So it's midwinter. We just did a video here not too long ago with a Hendrickson done. This time of year you should be starting to think about prepping for those early dry fly hatches. So today I'm going to show you kind of like I call it like a half and half. So it's kind of a quasi-done, quasi-emerger. Won't sit as low as an emerger, but it's got a real buggy profile. This fly fish is really good searching as well as for fish that are just simply rising. This is a Hendrickson pattern. We're going to tie it on a size 14. Timco 100 is what I'm using, whatever dry fly hook you like. We're going to use a pink thread, and here we go. So basically we're just going to start by tying our thread in and taking it back to the bend. So the first thing we're going to do is tie in some kinky olive Z-line, and this is going to act as our trailing shuck. So one strand's going to be a little bit too much, so we're just going to split this in two. We're just going to tie this right in the back. Bring it in just short of the bend. I'm just going to take my thread and make one wrap under it, and that'll help to kind of prop up the material, keep it from tangling on the hook point too much. I'm just going to leave this and I'll trim it out in a second. So the second part of this shuck is we're going to use bronze mallard flank feather. So usually what I'll do is kind of take my scissors at an angle from the bend, and I'm just going to trim this shuck here real quick. Don't want it super short, but I don't want it super long either. This is just going to look like the cast skin of a emerging dun. And then we're just going to take 6 to 8 fibers from this bronze mallard feather. And we're just going to tie these in the back a little bit past where we cut the trailing shuck. Like so. And then we're going to do a dub body, so in order to keep the consistency in the taper, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of bury all this material under my thread. Clean it up, and we're just going to bring everything back to the back here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in our hackle. I'm just using a whiting pro grade. This one basically is as you can see, it's the longer feathers. I'm just going to use a single feather for this. And the nice thing about this is you can tie multiple flies with them off of one. So we're just going to grab our feather and kind of strip the base off. Tie that in. I'm going to take one more turn under everything here. Okay, so now we're ready to dub our body. So what I have here is just a blend of dubbing that I made myself, pretty simple. Just take a big pinch of Adams gray, a little bit of pink, and a little bit of hare's ear. Throw it in a little blender and blend it up. If you don't want to make your own, I tend to do this a lot with bugs that I catch on the stream. Just bring them home and kind of start putting stuff together, try and mimic that color a little bit more spot on for the streams that I fish a lot. Adams gray by itself will work just fine, or a darker dun colored dubbing. So we'll just pull a little bit of this out. And we'll just kind of get it started here. We're not looking for a real big bulky body, just a decent taper. We're going to take it not quite to the eye, but pretty close. And then once we kind of finish here, we're going to take the hackle that we tied in and we're just going to palmer that forward. I'm going to put 2 turns in there before I tie it off, but I'm still leaving a little bit of a gap right here behind the eye for our wing. This is a fairly fast fly and also pretty durable. Okay, and once we get to this point, we'll just pull these back a little bit, clean it up a little bit. We're going to build just a little bit of a thread base here, lay our wing down on. As you can see, this already has a pretty buggy profile. So I'm just using a dun colored deer hair. This happens to be compare dun hair. Whatever works for you, you can use elk hair, it really doesn't matter. This is more about profile. You could do white if you want. I'm usually fishing this in the middle of the day. So for me, I'm just kind of going more for a natural look, so I chose a darker gray. You can stack these if you want. I'm not going to on this one. I'm just going to leave it kind of dirty, give it a little more bug appeal. But I am going to knock this under fur out. Once you get that prepped, what we're looking for is for our wing to come just about to the back side of that hook. Hendricksons have a little bit taller wing compared to most mayflies in relationship to the length of their body. So you kind of eyeball it, looks about right. So let's go ahead and tie this in. Now we're going to do this similar in a fashion that you would for an elk hair caddis. We're just going to come in with a loose wrap to start. And apply a little pressure. And we're just going to kind of wrap through that hair 4 or 5 times, like so. And then what I'll do is just kind of pull everything up from the bottom. Bring my thread to the front. And we're going to tie this off. Thread out. And then I'm just going to take these butt ends and I'm going to pull them forward. I'm going to come in with my scissors. Just do an angled cut here. And that's it. And it's ready to go. So one little guide hack that you can do on flies like this is if you come in underneath and just make one cut through that hackle, this will help to make it ride a little more level on the water. If you're fishing really bumpy water, it's probably fine the way it is, but a lot of the water I'm fishing is a little flatter. Allows that fly to kind of settle into that surface film a little bit better. But that's pretty much it.
Did you do all that really cool, like subscribe, like, comment?
No, man, I'm terrible, dude.